The first category of issues are simply writing code. So I'm going to give it, a bit of examples here. I tell it what the tables are, right? What they're called. I give it the columns, and I give it sample data. Of course, I want to anonymize the data here before I send it to ChatGPT. Then I tell it I want a CTE query, which just means it's going to be a subquery I can then pull from. Again, this just shows sort of my knowledge of SQL. If you don't have it, then you can sort of let ChatGPT to it and ask for the best way possible. Then it comes back here and it gives the actual query. I can, of course, copy it and start running it. I could edit myself if I see something that might be annoying and I want to fix right away. And it gives me a few explanations for the things that it did, primarily just sort of returning the instructions back to me. Now, this is actually a long thread. And what happened was there were a bit of issues in the way the data was actually structured in the tables themselves. So we had to go back and forth. We had to do a bunch of casting to fix tables. The query, was getting errors. So we were just going back and forth on it until we got it. Now, one issue I did run into here was it eventually did a join that was not appropriate, and it was actually pulling too many rows. So I had more rows than I expected. And I actually missed it while we were going back and forth, and I had to go back and sort of redo some of the steps with ChatGPT and then go back. So I kind of wasted a little bit of time. So it's always helpful as you write any kind of code that you're testing it along the way. Of course, you're testing this in some form of staging, not production, but you're testing each step of the way. You maybe want to go from small pieces and then slowly add on, rather than saying, hey, here's all the tables, here's all the things you need, build the entire query. That might not be as effective, just simply because it might just get a little bit confused. It's not perfect. But it is much faster than perhaps writing it yourself. And if your knowledge is not that deep of any specific language, it may really be a lot much faster. It may allow you to do a lot of different things that may not be possible otherwise. So very powerful way to write any kind of code. And the languages in particular we're using are not really the most complex. SQL is a relatively straightforward language. JavaScript is not that complex. So it's a good fix for that.